Wait. What was Dan Quinn just wearing at his press conference? Does this mean that Washington is going back in time? Jared Goff just signed a massive contract. Two questions I have. Was it worth it? And what does this mean for Jordan Love? Also, we have Anthony Cobb from AC Sports Live joining us. He is going to tell us all about his NFL journey and what his journey could mean for the players coming into the league today. That and more coming up on Sports Talk with Dad right now. Welcome back to another amazing episode of Sports Talk with Dad. As always, my name is Kyle, and I cannot call this Sports Talk with Dad without the man sitting next to me, a man who forgot to put in place the phrase, die young and leave a sexy corpse, my dad, Tim.
If I would have died young, you wouldn't be here.
Yeah, and now you're old and ugly.
Ow. I'm going to start taking applications to be a son on this show.
Listen, I'll pay for a nice nursing home for you to die in, but you're already at, 250 years old? So, I don't think it's happening anytime soon.
We've got big news.
We do.
Yes, we have a new teammate as part of Sports Talk with Dad. Sophia Woods is our new intern. She's joining us from Marquette University. We are very, very lucky to have her.
Yeah, she's going to be running all of our social media. So when you start to realize that it looks better, it is not because of us. No.
The fact that we will have social media is going to be because of her.
Exactly. So, Sophia, welcome to the Sports Talk with Dad team. We are very excited to have you here.
And she'll be doing more than just social media before all is said and done, we hope.
She will.
Yeah.
She is unbelievable. I don't know how we lucked out there. We're very
blessed.
fortunate here.
But there's other big news.
Yeah.
I didn't think a T-shirt could cause the commotion it did yesterday.
I'm think as excited as anybody about this. For those of you that didn't see it, Dan Quinn's press conference, he wore a Washington Commanders T-shirt. It did say Commanders on it, but off the W was a very familiar feather. For those of you that haven't seen it, can see it on the screen right now.
It is
wow.
It was the feather from their old Redskins logo.
I might buy that shirt.
I take the Commanders off. The W with the feather looks awesome.
It looks great.
So this has been going on in this cancel culture. Got to get rid of that. It's against it's demoralizing and saying bad things about Native Americans. No, it was designed by a Native American chief, actually.
Yeah.
Who reached out to the team back in the 1920s, 30s, and said, "Hey, I'd like to design your logo."
Well, if you want to say whatever you can about the Redskins name, I never saw it as anything derogatory ever.
Wasn't. The reason the Redskins were named the Redskins was not derogatory, but back in ancient times, they would put red clay on their skins.
Correct.
To keep mosquitoes away from them.
And the sun.
Right. And that's where Redskins came from.
Right. In ancient times is,
a long time ago.
200-something years ago.
Sure.
I wouldn't really call it ancient times. It's when you were a kid.
But here's what I've always suggested, and I think would be the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Use that logo because it is a classic logo.
It's one of the best logos in all of sports.
Yes, it is. Go to a tribe or a nation in the area, in the D.C. area.
Yeah.
Name the team after that. Honor their Native American history.
I would say name it after the tribe, and I have no idea what tribe he was part of, but name it after the tribe who the guy who was the guy who's the chief of, who designed the logo, name it after his tribe.
Yeah, because that was back when they were the Boston Redskins.
Is it Boston? Was it Boston Redskins back then? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. And then they moved to Washington. But
they had the Boston Red Sox, or the Boston Red Sox. They had the Boston Braves and the Boston Redskins.
They had the Boston Braves baseball and the Boston Redskins.
Let's go back to naming teams as a group in the city. That's why the Sacramento Kings were named the Sacramento Kings.
Why?
Because they were the Royals in Cincinnati, and then they moved to Kansas City.
Could be the Royals.
Had the Royals. They could have, but they're like, okay, well, we're going to go with the theme here. We have the Chiefs, we have the Royals, so we'll be the Kings. And that's awesome. I want cities to do more of that.
You mean like Detroit, the Tigers, and the Lions?
And then you have the Pistons, which doesn't really...
That honors the auto industry there.
But you could be like together.
Like the Bears and the Cubs.
Like the Bears and the Cubs.
And then the Blackhawks, which is, by the way, another very cool logo.
Oh, 100%.
So that's my idea. Washington football team, change your name to represent one of the
Or
Native
just
American
go back
nations.
to Washington football team and have that as your logo.
Fine.
Because Washington football team was an outstanding name.
It was, but I'd still like to honor Native American
But have the
tribe that's in
logo.
there.
Bring back the
Yes.
logo. But Washington football team was an iconic name. I really like that name.
Okay, fine. I
I
love
really
the
like
logo.
that name.
Bring the logo back. There's
I agree.
nothing offensive about it.
No, in fact, again, it's
Stand up for the history of your team and
it's the
say, no,
history.
this is why.
We've talked about it before. You can't get rid of all the Native American stuff and call it quote unquote offensive, because then what you're actually doing
Is offensive.
is completely whitewashing the Native Americans out of the history of the United States. So what you're doing, in my opinion, by getting rid of all this stuff is actually what's offensive.
Yes.
Because we should remember all of our history, and we're going to forget if we don't have things that are actually a part of our culture that reminds us of the Native American tribes that have been here for a very long time.
Always remember, those that erase and destroy history are destined to repeat it.
I don't think that's happening now.
Anyways, more besides
I
that,
teed you up to be an old
I'm
man, and you
not-
didn't take the bait.
I gave you a look, and that's all I'm going to get. Jared Goff got paid.
Dude got paid.
Yes, he did.
$212 million 4-year contract with $170 million guaranteed. Let me ask you, did the Lions overpay for this quarterback?
Better than any other alternatives they've got.
I'm of the opinion they got a deal for Jared Goff.
Maybe.
Since being with Detroit, he is top 3 in all quarterback passing categories.
He's been outstanding.
Last year, he had 29 passing touchdowns. This year, he had 30 passing touchdowns. He had 4,500 yards this year, 4,200 yards the year before.
He's a great quarterback.
He's
And-
had 4,000 yards, more than 4,000 yards in a season for the majority of his career. And the times he didn't, his lowest was, besides his rookie year, was 3,200 yards, and then 35, and then 37. Everything else is over 4,000 yards passing.
Here's my question. Would you rather pay more in your annual salary and less in the bonus, or front load it, give him a big bonus, lower the cap
Well,
hit?
for the cap, you have to give him the big signing bonus. You have to. I mean, that's why you're seeing the signing bonuses, even in restructures. You're all of a sudden seeing a lot of us putting signing bonus.
I'm
take
asking
away
you,
the cap.
I ask you that for a purpose, because in Green Bay, there's a quarterback that hasn't been paid yet, but is about to be.
Well, here's the thing, too. If Jared Goff, granted he's only, 28, 29?
Something like
He's still a
that.
pretty young guy.
And Jordan Love's had one half of one season that was outstanding.
More than one half.
9 games.
He had 4 bad games. And that was more due to play calling
Okay.
than it was to the quarterback.
But it was his first
Am I
season.
wrong? Was it not more to them holding a leash on
Yes.
Jordan Love rather than him playing poorly?
I think he got in his own head in October.
I would too, when a coach is literally putting me on a short leash for no reason. That was the coach's fault,
Be that as it
not
may,
the Hall of Fame quarterback's fault.
he's not in the Hall of Fame yet. My question still that you haven't let me get out yet, my question remains, what are the Packers going to do, and how much do you think Love gets paid?
A lot. I mean, he's not going to play for $12 million next year.
No.
There's no way he's going to play for that. For those of you that don't know, they restructured, instead of giving him his 5th-year option, which they just should have. I don't know why Jordan Love ever agreed to this anyway. They restructured his contract where really he's only going to get paid $12 million in guaranteed money for making the roster. The rest of it is completely incentive-based.
You
And
know,
even then, the max I think that contract can get is, $22 million? It's not a lot.
you know why he did that? He bet on himself, and
did.
he won.
Yeah, but he's still under contract, so he didn't fully bet on himself. He needs to get the extension now.
You know-
Jordan Love is going to make $55 million a year at least, with $190 to $200 million guaranteed.
I don't think it'll be that much. I think he's going to make $53 million. Jordan Love wants to prove himself, and he wants a good team around him.
He does.
No, I'm not asking. At some point, and I want to ask Russ Landy about this, our GM for Sports Talk with Dad. When is it going to come time to break the quarterbacks off the salary cap?
Yeah, we
and have
haven't talked
something
about this
separate?
in a while. We haven't.
No.
This was an early show topic we had. Major League Soccer does this.
Correct.
Major League Soccer has one player you can designate not part of your salary cap. And the reason they did that was because David Beckham came to town. Lionel Messi's in town now.
Right.
The guy whose name I can't pronounce came to LA. I don't remember his name. The guy with a really cool haircut and beard and looks like an evil villain from a Bond movie.
Got it.
I don't remember his
I
name.
don't know his name.
But these guys demanded a lot more money than the sport was really bringing in. And so they designate one player that you can bring in that doesn't hit your salary cap at all.
Which I can see happening.
Could they do that for quarterbacks, or would it be just one designated player?
One designated player. It's almost always going to be the quarterback.
Yeah.
But it's got to happen.
I think you have to just say it's the quarterback.
Why? What if you got a guy that's not worthy of it?
Then you don't pay him.
I'm just look, break it off.
Daniel Jones isn't worth it, but he got $40 million.
Correct. I think what's going to happen is I think the Packers are going to try to line him up for at least 4 years, probably 5, and the contract will be in the area of $200 million for 4 years, $250 if it's 5 years.
No.
He's going to get about $53 million a year.
That's what Jared Goff just got.
And they're going to break it off from the signing bonus. Okay. Jared Goff has had a better career so far than Jordan Love. How much guaranteed
money is Jordan Love going to get?
I can see him getting 150, 140, 150.
I can see that.
I can see it in that. He's not going to get what Goff got. Goff has had a long, successful career. Jordan Love hasn't had yet.
But he's a Hall of Famer.
Not yet.
And he's got potential.
He does have that. You keep telling us that.
I just, what are they going to do for this year, though? I have to assume it has to get done before training camp.
I think
there's no way he plays on this contract.
I don't think that's going to happen either. He's not going to hold out. He's going to play.
This is why you just give him the fifth-year option. I know I'm cutting you off, and I'm sorry, but this is why you should have just given him that full fifth-year option. You could have waited another year, but now because you pulled this nonsense contract for the fifth-year option, now you've forced your hand where you have to give him an extension now.
Packers are too smart by half, but they've got some of the best capologists in Russ Ball.
Yeah, they do. I mean, that's what people say, but at the same time, again, you've hamstringed yourself.
I don't think
he's definitely not going to sign a 1-year contract this year. But now that he's actually performed and looks like the Hall of Famer he's going to be, you have to sign him now because he's not going to play for that amount of money.
And here I'm on the other side. What if he doesn't perform next year?
That's what I'm saying, though. You could have just kept him on that fifth-year option for $25 million, had him play on that.
That ship has sailed. It's done. Now they have to re-sign him and extend him.
He's worth the money. He's worth the money. But I do agree that with the salary cap, but the problem is the NFL is never going to agree to having one player designated off the salary cap because then all of a sudden they have to pay everybody else more money.
Well, and the cap keeps going up and up and up.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see. I think Love's going to get paid $200, $220 over 5 years. And my prediction was $140 as a signing bonus.
I think it's a good pick. By the way, did you hear, I know we have AC coming on, but did you hear how stupid the Bears are still? Not with Caleb Williams. That's a different level of stupid.
Justin Fields not being a good locker room guy?
Well, that one too, yeah. Them saying all of a sudden he's a locker room cancer when that wasn't said at all.
That's what happens with most Ohio State quarterbacks.
Name one.
Arch Schlichter.
Okay, that doesn't count.
Justin Fields.
I should have seen that one coming.
Yes, you should have.
There's more to that story, and I know we're going to get into it later. But no, with the stadium, they decided not to go to Arlington Heights.
Correct.
They're going to build it
on the lakefront.
On the lakefront, right next to the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
You know one of the biggest complaints about Soldier Field is?
Parking.
So we're going to put it in the exact same spot. Unless they tear down Soldier and make it a parking garage. But from what I understand, there's no plans to tear down Soldier Field.
Why would you leave that up?
I don't know.
Unless you're doing concerts in the summer or something. But
why wouldn't you do it in your new stadium? Because I think the city's still going to own this.
I have no idea.
Because it sounds like it's going to be completely city funded.
It sounds like Chicago City Fathers and Green Bay City Fathers are cut from the same cloth. I don't know if they finally worked that out again, so the Packers are going to actually put $85 million into improving the facilities.
Not that I've heard. I mean, the mayor's going to lose his job in Green Bay, but it's like, okay, so it sounds like you don't have plans to tear down Soldier yet, but you're going to build this new stadium, and parking's still going to be a pain.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have anywhere for people to hang out to tailgate or anything.
It's Chicago.
This just seems dumb.
It-
And then they're going to play inside, which the Bears playing inside.
That's my biggest problem.
That's not the Bears.
No, the Bears need to be outside. If they put a retractable roof on it, I'd be fine with it.
Because then you can do concerts, but football's still outside.
And you just play it outside.
I can accept that.
I could too. I could even accept it if the Super
But
Bowl
they're not going to.
was inside.
Yeah, well, and that's why they're building it, to have a Super Bowl.
Right. But the Bears, as a general, are going to go from the monsters of the Midway to the Pokemon of the building. It just doesn't have the same ring to it.
Is that the best you could do?
Off the top of my head.
That was...
Mice of the building?
I don't know.
Rats of the building? They're just not going to be monsters anymore. Dick Buck has played outside. Brian Urlacher played outside.
You could have said they're going from the monsters of Midway to the mice of men.
Yeah, I missed my J.D. Salinger reference. I'm sorry.
The Pokemon of the building.
That's all I had. Anyways, should we talk to AC?
Please, ladies and gentlemen of the Sports Talk with Dad family, welcome former Arizona Cardinal, New Orleans Saint, and UCLA Bruin, and host of the AC Sports Live podcast. Please welcome Anthony Cobb. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Man, thank you guys for having me on, man. It's a pleasure to be on the Sports Talk with Dad. I'm a huge fan. You guys are awesome.
Oh, appreciate it. We are a big fan of yours, too. So tell us a little bit how you got into this from the NFL. How did this kind of evolve?
Man, I'm a realistic guy. I'm not built for football. As the conversation right now about NBA players playing in the NFL, your body can only take so much, man. My dad was a basketball player, but I ended up playing football or going to Long Beach Poly, where football is a way of life.
Yeah.
And, I'm 6'1", 175 pounds walking around. I gained a lot of weight over the years, but just playing ball, I knew I wasn't going to play very long. So I had to have a plan B. So I got my degree.
Nice.
I studied television. I interned at Fox as a student at UCLA. I kept those contacts, and I always had a heart for TV. I actually work with students now, getting them their careers and stuff through internships.
Nice.
My internship was really good for me as far as the business side of it and the actual skills side of it. And I interned in the off season. So when I was with the Arizona Cardinals, New Orleans Saints, I always found the local TV network, TV station, found out what I can do around the station, even if it was just to hang out. And write some scripts for the night show or pull some tape for the highlights. Eventually got to Fox Sports 1 as an editor. All this happening while I was a player, just trying to find out where I would fit as a sportscaster, as an editor, as a documentary filmmaker.
Yeah.
I always had a love for it, man. So it was just natural. I gravitated from sideline reporting to color analyst, to, of course, podcasting. Because of the pandemic, we couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So it was a great time to just get my teeth cut doing podcasting. And it's been therapeutic, man. It's been like the best thing that's happened to me since my kids were born. In that it's just fun. I mean, I'm not getting paid, but at the same time, if it's a passion, who needs to get paid? There are other things I can do to make money. But at some point, I'm pretty sure this could make money, but I see everyone doing it. I think I have a nice little corner of the industry that I found, and this is how I got into it, man. It's just something I've always wanted to do.
Well, and you have a great show. For those of you, the Sports Talk with Dad group here, make sure you check out AC Sports Live. It is an outstanding podcast, and you guys don't want to miss it. Now, rookie mini camps are coming up, and this is kind of what we were talking about before we did this today. You were a part of rookie mini camps for a long time. Caleb Williams has been the topic of discussion. It is no secret I am not a big fan of this guy. I don't think he's mature enough. I don't think he's going to handle the transition to the NFL well. But you had quite the character come into rookie mini camps with you when you were with the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, I mean, Ricky Williams was an odd character. I wasn't a rookie. I was a second-year guy. But I have an idea what that transition looks like from a ultra talented superstar in college coming to a group of grown men in the locker room, when you have to make, I wouldn't say make friends, but you have to make nice with the guys in the different factions of a locker room, because it definitely is the most segregated place in America, except for Sunday. But it's an odd situation you walk into, especially when everyone knows your cachet, how much money you're going to be making, and they're going to give you the keys to the car and you just got there. It's really odd. So for Caleb Williams being the I would say eclectic, or what you call that? What's the word? Eccentric, whatever.
Eccentric. Yep.
Odd, just a little bit off, but
Yeah.
very talented in what he does. How is that going to fit well with the veterans there? I think what helps him is that the Bears can't get any worse. The Justin Fields situation was pretty bad, even though Justin Fields is going to be great in Pittsburgh, I
I think
believe.
so too.
It was just a bad situation. I just know bringing in the receivers they brought in and him getting Oduze as his fellow rookie, which kind of lightens the fall as a
Yeah.
rookie coming into a room. He's not the only one. So both of those first rounders will be looked at a little bit side eyed by those vets.
Yeah.
And they have to make their space, have to make their way. I think what was good about the Caleb Williams first few interviews was I have to go and meet my team. I have to go and be a part of this group of grown men that I don't know. I think that was a huge step in the right direction for him. So he had the talent. Does he have the personality and the leadership skills? Is my only question.
Well, and this is a question. I know you have one too, but I just want to ask this real quick. What is that transition like? Because you hear NFL players say all the time that it is a different game, and Caleb Williams definitely played a game that worked well in college, but may not translate to the NFL. With you coming from UCLA, like you said, being a superstar at UCLA, coming into the NFL, what is that transition like?
It's humbling because everybody was a star
Yeah.
in college. I mean, you go from high school to college, you were you were able to walk through your town and not buy anything because your money was no good. You were such the big man on campus
Yeah.
as a youngster, and then you go to college and the same thing. And USC in Oklahoma, where Caleb went, I'm pretty sure his money was no good in every establishment in the city.
Yep.
Now you go to Chicago, and Chicago fan base is a lot like Philadelphia and New York. We want to see what you're going to do for us now, kid. All that stuff was great. Let me see you produce. You're only as good as your last play. So that whole transition is one where you have to kind of like earn your chops. And I kind of remember what Ricky Williams was trying to do with his contract being deferred, like watch
Right.
me and then love me, where the NFL is not the NBA or the MLB. Injuries are going to happen. You're going to get hobbled. And if anything happens on that path, then the fan base never gets a chance to love you. Um, right now, you being a Bear fan, you're not in love with them. I know Big Jacob's not in love with them. Uh, I think it'd be a good situation if they give him a chance to grow. If they start booing him game one, it's going to be a long haul. But who had a great rookie year besides CJ Stroud in the last 20 years? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, Peyton Manning struggled, Trey Aikman struggled. It's not the easy transition at all when they hand you the keys to the city first day. So he has to be humble. He has to learn. He has to be able to say the right things. His PR people have to really be on it about what he should be saying at these press conferences, because he's all about marketing and being a superstar face. He has to say all the right things while he learns.
Well, and speaking of how he learns, one of the knocks on him has been he looks over, he goes past, and our friend Russ Landia mentioned this, that at times he'll go for the big throw when a shorter throw is available to him. How does he overcome that and try to just take what you can get in the NFL?
When the Boo Birds come out, I mean, his first interception is probably going to happen in his first half of his career. Like, it's going to happen. Everybody's better. Everybody is waiting for you to make that rookie mistake. If he tries to make the throws that he made and tries to extend plays that he was extending in college, he's going to learn really fast. It's I don't want to be that person like saying Caitlin Clark's not going to be good in WNBA. She's going to be good. Kellen's going to be good if he's given time. But if he does try to do the miraculous stuff he was doing, like against good teams, Caleb struggled. In the same way, he's going to feel that the games where he didn't win and didn't perform, you see him crying with his mom. He's going to have a lot of days like that, because there's going to be some defenses that are going to be keying on him and playing right into his weaknesses. And he's going to have some long days ahead. But if he figures it out, watch a lot of CJ Stroud footage. He was just throwing on rhythm and then throwing the ball away and pulling it down when he needed to pull it down. He had a perfect rookie season. That's who the next model should be for all rookie quarterbacks. Watch CJ Stroud and how he did it. Low key, not a lot of fanfare. Thank the Lord every time he got the microphone. Didn't say I. He said, I don't want to thank the Lord, my team, my unknown receivers. They caught the ball for me. My unknown linemen, they blocked for me. My unknown running back, he ran that ball. So, he just has to take it slow and not try to do everything himself, like Justin Fields did.
Hold on, because we're talking about Stroud. Where did he play?
Would you stop that?
Again?
I knew you were going to do that.
The Ohio State,
University.
but where's he from? He's from Southern California. He's from the house, though. He's from the crib. He's from out here.
He is, but but I don't care about that. I just care that he played for Ohio State.
Okay. You got your little Ohio State shot in.
Hey, we're praising an Ohio State player, especially an Ohio State quarterback. I got it.
Never happened.
You gotta take it where you can get it.
So, as Packer fans, we've watched over the last 30 years that the Packers have kind of developed a routine for how they handle new quarterbacks. They're sitting. And Jordan Love, thank God he was able to sit, because I don't think he could have come in year one and did what he did the second half of last year.
Yeah, or Aaron Rodgers.
Either one.
Think he would have done anything.
I don't think so either. But with Caleb Williams, who's going to, and Jaden Smith for that matter, or
Jaden Daniels.
Daniels, thank you. I knew that wasn't right. Where they're going to be starting right out of the blocks. And as you said, Caleb's got the big time PR guys behind him. What are you expecting to see out of these guys? Are teams going to try to tee off on them and just welcome them to the league like the old timers used to?
Absolutely. I mean, you can't hit them the way you used to hit them.
Yeah.
But they can make their lives miserable. I mean, you just got to touch them every play. The same way Max Crosby hits Patrick Mahomes every play, just touches him on the hip. Just let him know and just kind of be in his head a little bit. The same way I play basketball, these youngsters now, I still hand check. I still foul at the rim. Like, you have to make people think about you. And I think these youngsters are going to feel that pressure. They're both get out the pocket guys. They both pull it down in 2.5 seconds. If they could find a way to stay on rhythm, they'll be just fine. But I know the bullets will be flying a lot faster, a lot hotter, and they're going to have the instinct to get out that pocket and make something happen because they feel that pressure of being great day one. So, but then this again goes back to the CJ Stroud versus Bryce Young. Bryce Young had all the cameras on him, while CJ Stroud was quietly becoming the player of the year. I think the same thing may happen for Caleb and JD5 in that Jaden Daniels doesn't have the same pressure as Caleb Williams. So it's a little bit different there, but I think they'll both be pretty good. They both are mobile. They both have cannons, and they both can make all the throws. So do they have the supporting staff is what I'm concerned about.
Now, coming into the rookie camps, we're starting to see this now, and I'm a layman, right? I've never been in a rookie mini camp, never even sniffed a rookie mini camp. As a player, what does that feel like coming in? Like, what should these players really be focusing on? What were you really focused on coming into your first rookie mini camp?
First rookie mini camp is kind of finding a lay of the land and then dominating your position. Like I came in to Arizona Cardinals in 1997 with Tom Light and Ty Howard from Ohio State, of course. Todd Light was from Iowa, and Ty Howard from Ohio State, first round, third round pick. I went undrafted, and there was a couple other undrafted free agent defensive backs, and I had to outplay those guys. And I believe production-wise, I did outplay those guys. However, they got $1 million signing bonuses, so they were not going to get cut. Yeah. So I get cut and I get signed. As a rookie coming in, if you're a high draft pick, fourth round and up, you're pretty much certain you're going to make the team. So you have the juice to kind of sit plays out, to stay a practice out, say I'm a little bit banged up. You don't have to practice as much. You're set in stone. Those guys who are drafted fourth round and below have to make the team. Yeah. And 100 guys come into camp to make 53 spots. It's really, really cutthroat. It's really, really, do you fit? I mean, I was prototypical size. I was faster than all the guys. I had everything you wanted, except I wasn't drafted. I was a 1-year starter. Everybody else played 3 or 4 years. So I was a new defensive back. I went to Arizona because the defensive back was my defensive back coach my junior year. Okay. So there was some familiarity there. Larry Marmee was my defensive back coach at UCLA, and he helped me transition from receiver to defensive back. And he knew I was an athlete and I could learn, and I was a smart guy. I just didn't have the experience. So they gave me a shot playing corner and free safety. So I had to just be good at both. It didn't work out. And, I got to tell my students that I work with now when I'm coaching, you can have everything on paper. Combine and all that stuff looks good. Yeah. But when you get down to the nitty gritty, are they invested in you? They only gave me 10 grand. Whereas my person I'm trying to beat out, they gave him 4.5 million or something like that. And then the other guy, he got 500,000. So the guys they're not going to cut are the guys they had not invested in. So it's really tough for the rookie free agent to, dominate to a point where, oh man, we're going to cut our losses and bring this kid in. It's just a tough situation. And it's really like, I've seen guys quit in rookie minicamp because they
Really?
saw the hustle and what it was going to take to make the team. And they make that phone call to their agent. It's not working out, and they're going home. And next thing you know, your roommate's gone. And
Wow.
it's really tough. It's really because you don't have any money yet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're still a college kid transitioning to your professional job, and you don't get paid until the season starts. So those
Okay.
who got drafted, they're getting loans from their agents. They're getting loans from these companies trying to be a part of their
Wow.
business. So it's a lot of pressure, and you just don't know. There's no certainty, and a lot of guys that get drafted late, they burn up the world, buy a car, buy this, buy that, buy the jewelry, and
Yeah.
get their teeth done. And you ain't got no money yet, bro. You've borrowed all that money,
So as an
and
undrafted free agent going into rookie camp, you're not getting paid for that?
you might get paid a couple $100 a week. Like
Wow.
you're getting paid peanuts until you make the team. So you're just getting paid enough to pay for your phone bill. You're getting put up in a dorm.
Yeah.
It's really a dorm, like college.
Yep.
It's like the worst. And the food's not bad because it's training table, but it's not roses yet. It's not all peachy yet. It's still a grind, and you're getting hazed. You know what I'm saying? Because the vets
Yeah.
come in after the third day. Some of the vets who aren't superstars come in and start working out with the youngsters to kind of get some kind of feel. And those veterans also give the coaches an idea who's going to work with us, who's going to be one of us.
Got it.
And then if you don't impress the vets during your rookie camp, chances are you'll be on the first thing smoking come Monday morning.
So then you end up in New Orleans.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Well, New Orleans, I'm trying to remember how that all happened. I believe we scrimmaged against New Orleans, and I had a good day. Um, we let me see what happened. I was at home for about I was home for about 5 weeks, just working out. And we had
Really?
beepers then, no cell phones yet, just beepers. So I'm working out, staying in shape, and I'm just watching my beeper every 5 minutes, take a look at my beeper because my agent told me that it's really cut and go. Like if
Yeah.
you don't answer the phone when they call, they go to the next guy. So he really had me, really standing by the phone. And then New Orleans calls and say, "Hey, we want to bring you in for a workout." And they signed me on the spot because I can do both. I could
Yep.
play receiver and defensive back and special teams. So they said, "Well, he'll be a great scout team player." And it was a blessing in disguise. I ended up, making the practicing squad, hanging out, with the team for a season. It was all great. The next season, I come to camp and I destroy my left shoulder.
Ooh.
In one of my best plays of the season, I jump up one hand, make an interception, and fall on my shoulder. And I'm trying to tough it out, but I just can't. So I go to the training room, and Mike Ditka comes in and says, "You can't make the club in the tub, kid." And
Ooh.
I try to go back out there, and it cut me the next day.
Wow.
So it was a rough little year and a half. I get credit for a year of actual active roster, but I was practice squad for a year, injury reserve for the other year, and that's how quick your career can be over. I went overseas to try to get healthy and come back, didn't work out. Ended up playing arena ball a few more years, and that was it, man. It's a tough hustle. That's why I'm so concerned about this NBA to the NFL. Like it's easy, like it's
Yeah.
not.
So
It's not, man.
I mean,
It's
where is
so
this conversation coming from? Where, like, I mean, if you look at athletically, I don't even think
oh
that
yeah,
necessarily qualifies because, yes, these guys are good athletes at what they do. Could LeBron James play in the NFL? Sure, but he's a freak athlete.
yeah,
But could he
yeah.
take those hits every single day? It's a completely different type of conditioning.
You got to be crazy. You got to be a little bit crazy and crazy in the head to do football, rugby, boxing,
Yeah.
hockey, any sport that has that much contact. You have to be a little bit nuts and a little bit of a caveman to go ahead and say, "I'll sign up for that." I mean, it's guaranteed 100%. I believe it was whose son was that? Was it Ken Griffey's junior son, or was it David Robinson's son who played football at Notre Dame? And he says, "My son picked the sport that you're 100% certain to get injured."
Yeah.
And you just wrap your mind around it. And there are kids who sign up for mixed martial arts. There are kids who are doing mixed martial arts, full contact. And it's just kind of like, you got to be a little bit crazy to think. And then all these NBA divas who don't like to get touched, you're fouling me. Like, bro, just imagine having someone pressing you and it's Peanut Tillman and he's in your face,
Yeah.
jamming you every play. And you got 75 of those reps every game. And that's just the game. practice every day. So I was like, no, I mean, the toughness aspect of playing football over basketball, I think is not being talked about enough. You really have to understand the physicality that comes with it. Falling down, if you're playing defense, you're going to fall down on the ground at least 50 times a game. And then when I played arena ball, you're hitting a wall and falling down 50 times a game. So it's just like, it's a lot that's not being talked about. Athletically, yeah, most NBA players probably are more athletic, but the best player in the NBA is not very athletic. Joker can't even run or jump, but he's the best basketball player in the world.
Right.
So it's kind of, let's slow down a little bit. It's different skill sets.
I'm not sure anybody that's in the NBA today would be able to go back into the 80s and 90s and take the kind of punishment that Ewing would put on Michael Jordan when he went to the hole or any of that.
Charles Barkley said it best. I tried out for football one day and said, we doing this again tomorrow. And then you look at Draymond Green. He was terrible at Michigan State at tight end. So I'm like, yeah, let's slow down a little bit. Those are two very good basketball players that can guard from 5 to 1, and they couldn't play football a lick.
But so that's Austin Rivers, though. I mean, it's what he does. That's his shtick,
you gotta start a pot. I mean, there are some guys. There are a handful of guys that can shoot. Suggs and Ant-Man. Those guys were great football players in high school. They could make the transition.
Well, and you see how many. I mean, because I think they think because you see Antonio Gates, you see Tony Gonzalez made that transition, but it's like, okay, those guys were also freak of nature athletes, and massive human beings.
Right.
It's a little bit of a different ball game.
Well, I'm bringing it up tonight. The kid from Baylor. Remember that national championship game? Yeah. The kid, he was a great basketball player, but they say he's not going to make the NBA, but he's 6'5", 250. Maybe he should try football.
Yeah.
Goes out for the Seahawks. Practice squad. Didn't pan out. Kansas City Chiefs picked him up. Didn't pan out. Now he's playing basketball in Mexico. I mean, it's you know what I'm saying? Is that sometimes the situation just dictates it. Sometimes it's not in the cards for you. Austin Rivers is the beneficiary of being a kid whose dad played in the NBA, and he was a heck of a basketball player himself. I said, you guys are great athletes, no doubt about it. But as far as toughness, durability, and craziness, not gonna happen.
Right.
If you're missing that it factor, you're going to be out of the league real fast.
Real fast.
You will. Now, maybe they could all be soccer players. I mean, that's
maybe they couldn't play baseball. The best basketball player ever can't play baseball.
That's true. That's true. I still think I could get one hit, but
you couldn't get one hit.
All right, AC, you're a real athlete. I need to ask you this question.
Oh my God,
because we had this argument. I said if I'm given 3 months, 8 hours a day, train nothing but hitting a baseball, if I were to face a retired Major League Baseball pitcher, 45 or up,
like Kerry Wood,
like a Kerry Wood, I'm given 100 straight fastballs, I could get one hit.
100 straight fastball from a retired old pitcher?
Retired pitcher, 45 years old, like Kerry Wood at this point.
He can still throw.
He can still throw.
Listen,
and
he throws it at my head once, I'm done. But if he's actually giving me pitches to hit.
If he's not throwing any junk, if he's just throwing fastballs and off speed, so if he's just changing the speeds on you and it's all fastballs like batting practice, you get a hit.
No, because those guys.
Did you play in high school?
No, I was a tennis player.
You got hand-eye coordination. Could you ever hit the baseball?
No,
I could get one hit. Yeah, let's put it that way.
All right, let me ask you this: have you ever been to the batting cage?
Yeah,
and hit,
for sure.
Have you hit 90 at the batting cage?
I have.
And you were successful?
10 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, you'd be fine. You'd be fine.
See?
As long as you've seen a ball and the velocity off a pitcher's hand, you'll be fine.
Him. Those fastballs.
This is from a real athlete here.
If he's not trying to strike you out, he's just throwing meat.
Like I said, he throws at me once or throws me one curveball, I'm out. Like I can't do it then.
That's why I say if he's throwing sliders and curveballs, forget about it.
Yeah,
the way his fastball moves.
Yeah, no. I'm saying one hit out of 100 straight pitches.
How old is Kerry Wood now?
Probably about 45.
He's 40, 45, somewhere in that ballpark.
He still has a cannon. I'm thinking a little bit older. Somebody about 55.
He couldn't hit Nolan Ryan, and he's 85.
Because I'm 50, and I was training last night with the guys at the boxing gym, and we were doing some bounding jumps, and my head got light. I was like, I'm jumping further and higher than everybody, but I don't have it anymore.
Okay.
So 100 pitches. I believe after about 50, I think he'll get some.
There you go. It's proof. It's proof right there. I just need to find a pitcher that's willing to let me hit, and I need 3 months of training.
I got to catch a guy who threw over 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
He played in the league for 15 years.
Yeah.
I told him, if you don't hit my glove, I'm a dead man. You're not touching him. That ball, even a
because he
fastball
was in his
moves.
20s at that point. I'm saying retired pitcher. I'm truly saying retired pitcher.
Let me ask, we're gonna change subjects a little bit, but you brought up boxing. So the big fight this summer is going to be
Tyson and
Tyson.
Jake Paul.
Yeah. What are you expecting from this?
Man, I just saw that face off. Mike Tyson loves Jake Paul.
Yeah.
I don't think this is gonna. I mean, it's 8 2-minute rounds.
Is that all it is?
Yeah, man, they're gonna spar.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, I think Jake knocking out Mike Tyson would make him more of a villain.
Yeah.
And then Tyson not being, I mean, yes, he's Mike Tyson, but I haven't seen him spar against a person punching back yet. He's been punching a stationary target with bags on.
Right, yeah.
And, he's 57, going to be 58, man.
But it's Mike Tyson.
It's still Mike Tyson, but Jake's not a chump.
No,
Jake,
he's
he
not.
can fight. He can
Yeah.
fight. So, I mean, I'm fearful that it goes 5 rounds and then Mike's getting tired and Jake starts pounding on him. I think the first 2 rounds will be very exciting, but I think Mike's gonna just spar with Jake, and Jake's gonna spar with Mike, and it's gonna be a gentleman's draw, if not Jake victory. Because activity wise, I don't see Mike. I mean, again, I'm a decent athlete, and I box 3 rounds once a week, and I'm dead after about the minute and a half of the 3rd round. I'm cooked, and I know he has the muscle memory, and he can do it. He did it a few years back with Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah.
And he pretty much was going to kill Roy Jones if this was a real fight.
Right.
I mean, it's possible. We could see glimpses of the old Mike. I don't know how Jake handles the left hook. Anybody he's fought so far, except for Tommy Fury, has been a pushover. And the fight that he had with Tommy Fury, he got beat because it was a real situation.
I know it's 16-ounce gloves, which is also a different ball game. It's not the 8-ounce Mike used to fight.
Yeah, these are big old padded gloves. The kind that I wear at the gym. They're
Yep.
super heavy and they're so padded. It's hard to get knocked out with those on. But we never know. But I'm anticipating a dancing match.
The problem is everybody's hoping that this is going to be the fight from Rocky Balboa, where they're going and they're just trying to kill each other. It's not going to happen.
I can see Mike Tyson though. I hope it is. I want to see Mike Tyson knock him.
He's going to rough him up a little bit the first 2 rounds.
Yeah. I just want to see the old Mike come back. I watched him boxing as a kid. I loved watching Mike Tyson.
Man.
And then the Buster Douglas fight happened.
Well,
that hurt my heart. That hurt my heart.
If he shows up like he did against Joe Frazier's son,
that's what I'm saying.
That was prime Mike though.
Yeah,
that was. But then he didn't have any love for Marvis Frazier. Like he didn't like the Spinks family. But he's going to Paul's presser. He's chummying it up with them. Like this what's up, my boy. And that's like the Ruiz fight on the 3rd undercard for the Bud Crawford fight. Him and the guy are friends.
Yep.
Like I'm not that much of a caveman or a barbarian that I want to see guys hate each other and kill each other. But it does add to the storyline. Are you going to give us your all?
Right.
Or are you gonna hold back because that's your friend? I need Mike to not take his meds that day. I need Mike. I need him to be in a bad mood.
We need fresh out of prison, Mike. That's what we need. We need him fresh out of jail. I need someone one more time.
Whisper in his ear, man. Jake says you're nothing. Jake says you're not even top 10. Or what? What he say? What?
Exactly. The issue is Mike Tyson's already made $100 million and he hasn't even lifted up a boxing glove yet. So I don't know what we're gonna see here. One more question, because I know you got to get going and get ready for AC Sports Live.
We also have Mount Rushmore to do.
Oh, we also have Mount Rushmore to do. I forgot about that. But I did want to know, so when you were at the Arizona Cardinals, you mentioned getting cut from the team and getting a call back. What does that look like?
It looks like your life is flashing before your face athletically in a long, drawn out span where you're starting to question, am I good enough? And does anybody know I exist? It's not the best place in the world. It really takes mental toughness to continue to grind and believe in your dream, and then start looking at the end. If this is not my calling, and this is not for me, then what's next? I did an interview with Fox when I was being looked at by the Arizona Cardinals during camp. I went home for a weekend and did an interview with my former, team that I worked with on my internship, and they did a story on me. And they said, well, how does it feel when you got cut? I said, well, I got to get my resume together because there's no guarantee I'm going to get a call. Because what's the, not for long is the acronym for the NFL. Mine was, rookie camp, fall camp, last cuts.
Ouch.
I mean, I started my last preseason game for Arizona. I was guarding Curtis Conway. I was guarding Tim Montgomery. I was guarding real dudes.
Yeah.
And I just didn't have a great game. I had a great first half. I had a bad second half, and I got cut. Wow. It was tough, man. And all that stuff happens fast. There's no guaranteed money, and you don't have any income. That's why I'm glad kids are getting paid in college now, because we didn't get paid jack at UCLA. We got summer work sometimes, but that was only a couple $100.
Yeah.
And you figure you're a rookie free agent, signing bonus is gone. You've been living off that for a month and a half. And then you're sitting there waiting for a phone call. It's a very long period of time if you're, a guy trying to make it and you don't have that cachet. But, you got to persevere. It'll happen if you're, able to sustain bag groceries and have that Kurt Warner story when they call you after you've been bagging groceries, and then you go over NFL Europe, make a name for yourself, come back to the NFL and become a Hall of Famer. So there's stories in there that can inspire you. You just have to have that glass half full mentality.
And I know you want to move on from Mount Rushmore, but you said something. I can't let this slip.
I knew
because you were in college for UCLA and obviously an outstanding player. How do you think NIL has changed the landscape, and does anything need to be fixed when it comes to the NIL?
It's a lot. My son's a D1 athlete right now at San Jose State, and he doesn't have NIL money. He has NIL products. So it's different for every single school. It's different for every single kid. I have a former teammate of mine from New Orleans. His son played at Alabama. Yeah. He didn't like being on the bench, so he told Nick Saban, "I'm better than that. I'm transferring to Florida State." And the kid got $3.5 million.
Wow.
And I was just kind of like, because he's from Bama, his worth is so much more.
Yeah.
And then you kind of like, well, is he that much better? And I'm thinking to myself, well, you figure the 2-star, 3-star kids out of high school versus the 4-star, 5-star kids in out of high school, and they go to these schools. You have the Kamari McLeans from Colorado, who's a headache. And now he can't get a school to give him a chance, where I think he got as much money as what was the kid's name? The other corner coming out of high school.
Travis Hunter.
And Travis Hunter, like as far as NIL money, he got a couple $1 million because the potential and the name. So I wouldn't say it's ruining the game, but I just know that it's an added factor that's going to cause a lot of kids not to be hungry. Because you look at the combine, I saw about 4 fat DBs.
Yeah.
Like, how do you come to combine not in shape? Because you're eating and you're not hungry anymore. It's like a backwards idea, but it's good that the kids can earn on their name, image, and likeness.
Right.
But it's bad because big time schools have overblown the idea, and they're giving these kids way much more money than they actually need at this point in time in their life. But I can't say that I'm not for it, because I was one of those broke athletes who needed something, and we couldn't even get a dinner. We couldn't even get groceries from a person that wanted to support the team.
So I always thought of Olympic swimmers with that, right? I always remember Missy Franklin. She was 15 years old and won the gold medal, and she couldn't cash out. It's either, do I make money now and lose my scholarship to Stanford, or do I keep my scholarship to Stanford and go swimming? So when NIL became this, that's what I thought of. I'm like, okay, this is awesome, because somebody like Missy Franklin, who ended up getting hurt in Stanford and was never as good again, actually gets to make some money from the greatness that she was at 15 years old versus college. But man, this has turned into something.
Well, look at your Ohio State Buckeyes. They were getting in trouble for doing what they know how to do. They were selling their products. Like we did that at UCLA. We might have retro punishment, but our nasty Reebok stuff, we went back to the Reebok store and got store credit.
Right.
Or we got a surplus of stuff, we sold it to other students. Like, we had to make money any way we knew how, because we weren't able to make a name. Like, we had superstars among us, and they couldn't catch. I mean, Ed O'Bannon and Tyus Edney and Charles O'Bannon, all these guys had household names. That's what the whole thing started from. Ed O'Bannon in the Ramogi Huma lawsuit with NCAA Basketball 95, I believe it was, the video game. That's where it all started. And now my son's going to get paid $500 to be on a video game because of all that.
So do you agree with me? At least my thought is, at some point, NCAA football and probably basketball will break off and set up their own thing and rewrite the NIL rules to try to level the playing field a little bit.
I mean, at some point, something has to be done because for so long, the SEC and the big boys always found a way to do their thing behind closed doors. Now that it's out in the open, and it's the wild, wild west, it is problematic because now student athletes are at the recruiting table saying, well, how much are we going to get?
Right.
And that kind of takes away from the whole essence of being in school, the essence of earning what you're going to, receive. So I believe at some point they have to change something. Right now, it's just too wide open. I'm not saying put a cap on it, but somehow or another, you got to make it a little bit fair. Even though the world's not fair, nothing's
Right.
fair. It's not fair when Austin Rivers can say I've made way more money than James Jones because I play basketball, but you're still both role players. Is the playing field the same? It's not the same. So you have NIL, you have SEC players, Big Ten players, ACC, SEC, no more Pac-12. But you figure all these big conferences making this billions of dollars on these TV deals, and you have student athletes playing on a certain level. Every athlete at that college needs to get a piece of something. But is it fair to the person who's bringing in all the money? You have to find out what works for everyone. Is capitalism at its finest? I mean, I don't know, man. It's just something that they've opened up a Pandora's box. You can't put it all back in, but how can we fix it?
All right. Now we get into the fun stuff.
Yeah.
So
boy.
we started a couple weeks ago. End of the show, I just threw it out there for my last word about who's on the Mount Rushmore for each individual team, and we decided to go. We're going division by division. We did the NFC North last week. This week, we're going to do the NFC East.
You're a big Eagles fan, so we got to start
Yes.
with the Eagles. You can pick one coach and one quarterback is all.
You don't have to
to pick any of them, but you can
Ah.
only have one coach, one quarterback. Who's your top four?
This is hard, man, because
And Reggie White's a Packer.
Right.
You can add him. You can
He-
have him.
You can have him.
I mean, man, this is hard, man, because I got so many Eagle favorites. I got Randall Cunningham behind me. But he didn't win the chip. Neither did Donovan McNabb. Jarosky didn't win. Nick Foles, man, he has the chip. Now the NFC champion, the NFL championships way back in the day before Super Bowl, I count those when I talk trash.
So do I.
But as far as Super Bowls,
We're Packer fans. We understand including NFL championships back in the day.
You have to understand those
It's
really count.
13. That's the number.
Yes. We really got 4 if you count those. But I mean, Nick Foles has the championship, man. And Andy Reid, the longevity.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I would even go Brian Dawkins, man, because you figure
100%.
the authenticity of his career, even though he had to go play in Denver.
Right.
But he was one of my favorite Eagles, just like Randall Cunningham was one of my favorite Eagles, man, and Reggie White, and oh man, it's tough. But as far as Mount Rushmore,
I put Chuck
sheesh.
Bednarik on it.
Who's that?
Chuck Bednarik,
Yeah,
last two-way
mean,
player.
yeah. Well, I'm Mike Quick and Harry
Yeah.
Carmichaels and all them dudes, man, and
Carmichael
Brown
was
and
unbelievable.
yeah, all those guys, man. Sheesh. I'm gonna go. And I gotta go with the two. I'm gonna go with Andy Reid, and I'm gonna go Randall Cunningham.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just no Super Bowl needed. Just
All
kind
right,
of.
who are the other
yeah.
two?
You get 2 for each team.
No, four for each team.
Oh,
It was just one. You could only have one coach and one quarterback. That was the rule. We
oh,
made.
okay,
So you
okay.
couldn't
We're
have,
going.
like for the Cowboys, you can't have.
Okay, yeah, I'm going.
Staubach and Aikman.
Okay, easy. I'm going Brian Dawkins and Reggie White.
Yeah.
Even though you guys are trying to claim Reggie White, but he was an
No, he's the one.
half and half. He
It's
really
half and
is.
half,
Eagle. He was an Eagle.
and he was a Packer.
Yeah,
Retired
You
in
can't-
both.
you did.
As he
Yeah,
should
you
be.
did.
I also have Reggie White and Brian Dawkins on mine. Brian Dawkins was one of my favorite players to watch growing up.
Oh man, yeah,
Arguably the greatest
Weapon
safety
X.
of all time.
Weapon X, man.
Mhm.
It's gonna be hard for you, Cooley. That's my favorite soundbite.
I also have Donovan McNabb. I wanted to go Randall Cunningham so bad because I love Randall Cunningham. I remember watching him playing for the Vikings, but I watched Donovan McNabb. That was my age group. So I had to go that. And then I went Terrell Owens
Oh wow.
as a Mount Rushmore on the Eagles.
Okay.
He was
Whatever.
outstanding when he played
was-
for the Eagles.
He was a
Should
man.
have
Played
been
with
an
a broken leg.
MVP. Got them to the Super Bowl on a
broken
broken
leg.
foot.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
Was it
that's
leg or
how
was it
McNabb's
foot?
not. That's why McNabb's not on my list. That game. That's
That's
my. That's the game that he lost my love.
True. I don't blame you. Well,
your receiver's giving it his all, and you're gonna give me that.
Right. Yeah. I went Reggie White, Chuck Bednarik, Brian Dawkins, and Andy Reid.
That's a good one too. All right, we got to go through the whole NFC East. As much as it pains you to name great players from the other team, because for whatever reason, NFC East fans hate the other teams in the NFC East with a passion. But I also hate the Bears and the Vikings, so I get it. I can't hate the Lions, though. It's too hard. All right, so the Giants. Who do you got for the Giants as your Mount Rushmore?
Giants, I'm going Bill Parcells.
Yep.
I'm going Eli Manning. I'm going that's a tough one. Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah.
Lawrence Taylor.
And I want to go OJ Anderson.
Oh,
wow.
I'm gonna pull one out my back. I believe, he was the running back of the Super Bowl team with Phil McConkey, and who else was on that team? Yeah.
I've got the same list, but I put Harry Carson on there.
There you go.
Yeah, I have Taylor, Manning, Parcells, and I put Strahan.
Couldn't go wrong with that. All-time leading sack leader, but even though a couple of those were gimmies. That last sack was a gimme.
Yes, it was. That doesn't count.
Against your team, right? Against the Packers, right?
Favre didn't just lay down and get sacked after 2 seconds. I don't know what you're talking about. Who was the former sack leader the season? He was
Bruce Smith.
Yeah, he was not. No, the single season guy.
Gastineau. Was it Mark Gastineau?
Yeah.
He was not happy. He left the game after that happened. And I don't blame him. I mean, Favre was making him run around all game and then just gave it to him.
He didn't even do a good acting job.
No, he just laid down. All right, we got the Washington. Pick your name.
Football team.
I'm Washington football team all the way.
The football team. I'm gonna go. You see, the Theismann, Doug Williams. I'm gonna go Doug Williams for historical value. I'm gonna go John Riggins.
Yep.
I'm gonna go. Defensively, is it gonna be Charles Mann or what was that other guy that couldn't read? Dale Green, but the defensive tackle.
Who was he? Yeah, he couldn't read. Could he?
Dexter Manley.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Dale Green, Dexter Manley, and Joe Gibbs as the coach, and gonna go and the quarterback I just named, Doug Williams.
There you go. All right.
There you go.
I went with Theismann just because it was the worst injury I ever saw, but it was the coolest injury I ever saw.
Okay.
And he did get him to the Super Bowl, but Doug Williams in that Super Bowl was unbelievable.
He was.
He threw dots that game.
And honestly, that showed the brilliance of Joe Gibbs because he won with 3 different quarterbacks?
Yeah.
3 completely different quarterbacks.
Yeah, that never works. So those are mine.
All right. I didn't go with a quarterback on this list.
Okay.
Because they were all either hurt or 1 year and then gone.
1 year wonders. Yeah.
And Sammy Baugh, you know me with older players. It's just, I normally don't count them. So I went John Riggins, Sean Taylor, because Sean
Taylor, good pick.
I mean, I get it was short because he was killed, but
the best ever.
It hands down the best ever. So Sean Taylor, Darryl Green, and then Joe Gibbs for the coach. I couldn't pick a quarterback for Washington.
That's fair.
That's fair.
And all right, now the one that claims to be America's team, even though the Packers really are.
Oh man, I'm going Tom Landry.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go UCLA Troy Aikman, even though his numbers don't fit the Hall of Fame, but he's still in there.
Yep.
Troy Aikman. That's defensively. I mean, you go Emmett, and for offense, you go Emmett, you go playmaker Urban.
Yep.
But defensively, it's harder not to go Darren Woodson, but you still have those OG guys, Too Tall Jones and Randy White, nose tackle. They had some guys, man. Leon Lett, Larry Williams, left tackle. I mean, those guys were monsters, man. So let's go Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and all-time Cowboys defense. Who am I missing at defensive?
Did you mention Bob Lilly?
No, I didn't mention Bob Lilly. It's kind of going back. I'm gonna go Darren Woodson.
That works.
Okay, you can't go wrong with Darren Woodson.
I went Landry. I went Staubach because he was more than when I was watching originally. Emmitt Smith, and I went with Randy White.
There you go.
So I also have Landry on the list. Also went Troy. No, I didn't have Landry. I'm sorry. I have Jimmy Johnson on the list.
There you go.
What Jimmy Johnson did in 4 years is just, and that last Super Bowl, that was his team. Like, let's be honest. So I went with Jimmy Johnson. I did go Troy Aikman. I went Bob Lilly, and I went Michael Irvin. And Tony Dorsett was on my list if I didn't go with the coach.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tony Dorsett was outstanding.
Tony Dorsett is forgotten, even though how incredible was he?
If Tony Dorsett played with the same offensive line that Emmitt Smith got to play with, I mean, he would have had 30,000 yards.
Situation, man. Situation and context, brother.
It is. But hey, we know you got to get going, AC, but why don't you give us a shout out to the show so people know where to find you?
Hey, man, you can find me on Facebook, YouTube. The new Twitter is called X. I'm usually on LinkedIn. Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Pacific Coast time. And I'm also on Thursday nights, the 1585 show. I go on air with my buddy Jim McElroy that I played football with in college, and we battled in the NFL for a little bit. We go on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. as well on the Pacific Coast time. And we'd love to have you. It's interactive, so your comments are on the show. So tune in and don't be square. Say it with your chest, man.
Perfect. We're going to have all of his stuff linked in the description below, so make sure you don't miss it. AC is outstanding, and you really want to make sure you tune in. Thank you, AC, so much for joining us today.
I'm going to have you guys on my show real soon, man.
Whenever you want us there, we'll be there.
We're there.
All right, man. Real soon, man.
We'll talk soon.
Thanks, AC.
All right, guys.
Make sure you check out his podcast. Again, everything will be linked in the description below, but you and I have had an outstanding show.
We have.
But as always, it's the scariest moment of my week because you cannot have a conversation with your dad without your father getting the last word. So it is all you.
This one might bug you too. So my entire life, I've had great coaches and I've had great mentors in business. The one rule that every one of them drilled into me was that you praise in public and you criticize in private. Chrissy Sid, the coach of the Indiana Fever, obviously didn't get that message. I'm watching her post-game press conference the other night, and she's talking about how Caitlin Clark needs to learn to do this, and she's not doing this well, and she can't take the same shots she took in college, basically calling her out for just not being a good player at this point, and then she's going to have to completely change her game. Newsflash for you, Chrissy. Caitlin Clark is the reason anybody's watching the WNBA. She had an outstanding year making those same shots in college that she's going to start to make in the WNBA. She is the biggest name and the biggest star that league has seen in many, many years. Take it from me, if you've got a problem with her game, call her into your office. Talk to her in private and coach her. You don't call her out in public because it makes you look small and it makes her, as always, look even bigger than she was before. That's it for tonight.
Short, sweet, and to the point on this one.
It was. Can I say it pissed me off? Yeah.
I don't understand why, because all the Fever fans are calling for her to be fired.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's done.
Why would you change Caitlin Clark's game? And to say she's out there dancing, what an idiot.
Well, you and I talked about it. She's got to learn to go to her right a little bit. There's things she can improve about her game.
Yeah.
Coach her.
That's the first time she's ever had the spotlight like that put on her, and she did not handle it well.
No, she didn't.
She didn't. Thank you, as always, so much for watching. This has been Sports Talk with Dad. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.